Today is Friday, August 16th. We'll tell you about President Biden's show of support for his VP and the Secret Service's new plan to better protect former President Trump ahead of the November election. Also, who's now being charged in connection to actor Matthew Perry's overdose death. Plus, the latest track of Hurricane Ernesto, how 2 Olympians are responding to online criticism, and which fast food chains are serving up nostalgia this summer. Those stories and even more news to know in today's episode. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. For the first time since President Biden dropped his re-election bid, he joined the new Democratic nominee on the campaign trail. Biden appeared with Vice President Kamala Harris in Maryland yesterday, where the crowd chanted, "Thank you, Joe." The president also spoke, saying his VP will, quote, make one hell of a president. They came together, at least in part, to promote the administration's negotiations to cut prescription drug prices in the future. We'll talk more about the specifics later in today's episode. But overall, you can expect to see Biden showing up for Harris even more. He's scheduled to headline the Democratic National Convention's opening night when the DNC kicks off next week. Of course, former President Trump is still focused on campaigning as well. He held his own news conference from his golf club in New Jersey yesterday. There, he blamed Harris for inflation that's caused the price of everyday items to rise over the last few years. Trump kept going after Vice President Harris personally, too, calling her not smart, saying he didn't believe she loved the country. When asked about his criticism, Trump said he was entitled to personal attacks since she does the same, calling him weird, for example. Vice President Harris has been gaining on former President Trump in several recent polls, though with a few more months still left before Election Day, things could still change in any direction. The Secret Service has approved a new security plan to better protect former President Trump at rallies. As you know, this comes about a month now after a gunman fired on Trump at an outdoor campaign event, hitting him in the ear. Well, now the Secret Service tells news outlets like the Washington Post and ABC News the next time the former president appears at an outdoor event, he'll be surrounded by bulletproof glass. That's not a step usually taken for former presidents or presidential candidates. And it's apparently not the only unusual step the Secret Service will be taking for Trump. But they wouldn't go into other specifics. Already in the aftermath of the rally shooting, the Secret Service beefed up the protective details for both Trump and Harris, as well as their running mates. Ukraine now says its troops have taken full control of a Russian town. Many of the people who once lived there have fled, along with tens of thousands of other Russians who have evacuated from the border region. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says hundreds of Russian soldiers have surrendered. So far, Ukraine's closest allies, the U.S. and Britain, say Ukraine has not violated their policies, though they haven't gotten into too many specifics about the exact terms for Ukraine using Western weapons inside Russian territory. By the way, a ballerina who was based in Los Angeles has just been sent to a Russian penal colony. She had been visiting family in Russia when investigators searched her phone and found she donated about $52 to a Ukrainian charity in the U.S. And for that, a Russian court convicted her of high treason and sentenced her to 12 years in prison. Her lawyer says she'll appeal, and her boyfriend is now calling on the American people to help get her home. Ernesto is now a Category 2 hurricane, and it could intensify even more to become the season's second major hurricane before it hits Bermuda. It's expected to bring powerful winds, torrential rainfall, and life-threatening flooding to the island starting tonight. So people are rushing to prepare. Meanwhile, Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands are still recovering from their encounters with Ernesto. As of last night, hundreds of thousands of people were still without electricity and drinking water. The hurricane isn't actually expected to make a direct hit on the mainland U.S., but meteorologists say it will bring massive waves to the East Coast over the weekend. As promised, the U.S. brought down the prices of 10 of the top-selling prescription drugs. After months of negotiations with manufacturers, list prices will be lowered by hundreds, in some cases thousands of dollars for monthly supplies used by millions of people on Medicare. Quick reminder, Medicare is government-run health insurance for people 65 and older, and some younger people with disabilities. The drugs include treatments for cancer, diabetes, and heart disease, and taxpayers spend more than $50 billion a year on these 10 drugs. But with the new prices, the Biden administration says savings are expected to total $6 billion for taxpayers and $1.5 billion for the people who rely on Medicare. It's not clear exactly how much each person can expect to save when they fill a prescription at their local pharmacy, since the list cost is not the final cost people pay. There are many factors like discounts, co-insurance, and co-pays for each person's Medicare drug plan. It's also worth noting these negotiated savings don't kick in until 2026. But many people on Medicare should see relief from drug prices next year, too, because of a new rule that caps how much they pay on drugs to $2,000 a year. All right, we have more news for you coming up. But first, this episode is brought to you by Shopify. I remember when The Newsworthy got its first feature on Apple Podcasts, and I saw a significant spike in new listeners for the first time. It really reminds me that as a business owner, you want to be ready for that next step, even before it happens. Well, if you're selling online, Shopify should be your go-to. Shopify is a global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. And you know they're ready to help you grow and keep your business strong because Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Yeah, that sound is often heard because Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/newsworthy, all lowercase. Go now to shopify.com/newsworthy to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/newsworthy. Now back to the news. People in California will soon be able to add their driver's license to digital wallets like Apple Wallet or Google Wallet on their phones. Governor Gavin Newsom announced the state's mobile driver's license pilot program yesterday. These digital licenses can be used at TSA checkpoints and to buy items like alcohol and tobacco. But this doesn't mean that Californians can just throw away their physical licenses. You are still legally required to carry the physical version while driving. And the pilot program is limited to 1.5 million users. Some privacy advocates express concerns that adding identification to a digital wallet would make it easier for the government or even private companies to take your data without consent. But California DMV officials say the digital license is encrypted and they don't store any information without your permission. California is not the only state to offer digital IDs. 5 other states currently make IDs available in Apple Wallet, and more than 20 states total are looking into starting similar digital ID programs. 5 people are now facing charges for the death of former Friends star Matthew Perry. Authorities say 2 doctors preyed on Perry's history of addiction in the final months of his life and gave him a surgical anesthetic in amounts they knew were dangerous. We're talking about ketamine, which Perry's regular doctors had prescribed him for depression. But when those doctors refused to give him more, Perry apparently went to 2 others, the ones who are now facing charges. Prosecutors say they took advantage, and that one even wrote a text message that reads, "I wonder how much this moron will pay," and "let's find out." Perry's assistant and 2 street drug dealers were also charged. On the day Perry died 10 months ago, prosecutors say his personal assistant gave him several injections of ketamine that he got through multiple sources. And the LA County medical examiner found the level of ketamine in the actor's blood was similar to what would be used during general anesthesia. A lawyer for at least one of the doctors has responded, saying his client only wanted to give the best medical treatment, and he's planning to fight the charges in court. If found guilty, he and at least some of the other people accused in this case could end up spending the rest of their lives in prison. The Olympics may be over, but the drama continues. Remember, we told you about gymnast Jordan Chiles? She got 5th place until a score recalculation led to her being awarded a bronze medal. Then she had the bronze taken away after the games. Well, she shared a reaction on Instagram yesterday about the unsuccessful appeal USA Gymnastics made on her behalf. Chiles says the decision to take away her medal feels unjust, but she is overwhelmed by the love she's received. She also criticized unprompted racially driven attacks on social media. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, Australian B-girl Reagan has spoken out. She's the dancer who became a viral meme during the Olympics due to her 0-point breakdancing performance, which featured what appeared to be a kangaroo hop. Rachel Gunn, that's her real name, took to Instagram to say she worked her butt off for the Olympics. She added that the criticism she faced devastated her and said she took the competition very seriously. The Australian Olympic Committee has already defended itself against accusations that Reagan's selection was not transparent or fair. A Change.org petition demanding an apology from Reagan and the Olympic Committee has since been taken down. It seems like fast food restaurants are leaning on nostalgia to bring back old customers. McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, and Taco Bell are all adding menu items that pull on the heartstrings. In McDonald's case, that means adult Happy Meals. Technically, they're called collector's meals and feature collectible cups with throwback designs that include Beanie Babies and Hot Wheels. Meanwhile, Chick-fil-A will offer its wildly popular banana pudding milkshake starting later this month. It's the first time that item will be on the menu in 13 years. Taco Bell is testing nostalgic menu items too. It's bringing back fan-favorite items from each decade going back to the 60s, at least to a few locations in Southern California. But Taco Bell did add that it's hoping to bring these items nationwide later this year. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Feel Good Friday, when we bring you one extra feel-good or positive news story before the weekend. But first, a quick break. As someone who researches things a lot for both my professional and personal lives, I welcome any tools that help make that process easier. And when it comes to finding a new doctor, one tool I use is ZocDoc. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. You can filter for doctors who take your insurance, who are located nearby, who are a good fit for any medical need you may have, and who are highly rated by verified patients. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skin care, and much more. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/newsworthy to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. Now back to Feel Good Friday. A dog named Barley, who got lost on vacation, is finally home thanks to a kind-hearted couple in Michigan. The story began last summer when Barley's original owners went on a camping trip and the dog escaped. His family handed out posters and spread the word on Facebook. They even made several 10-hour drives back to the campsite to keep looking for him, but had no luck. Well, when Deanna and Denny Suggett heard about Barley, they decided to find and rescue him themselves. With the help of friends and neighbors who had seen the dog, the Suggetts tracked down Barley near a small town on Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Barley wasn't ready to be rescued, though. Barley had suffered trauma early in his life, and as a result would run away when humans approached him. So Deanna decided to leave food out for Barley at the same spot every day, twice a day, to help him survive. Then, more than a year after Barley went missing, a friend of the Suggetts was actually able to trap him. He spent some time at an animal shelter to recuperate, and while he was there, the shelter's director got in touch with Barley's original owners, who said they wanted the dog to go to Deanna and Denny, who had spent so much time and effort to rescue him. Barley has now been at the Suggetts' home for a couple of weeks, and so far they say he's doing well. All right, we'll be back tomorrow with our special edition Saturday episode. We're talking with a double board-certified fertility doctor about America's fertility rate, IVF politics, and more. Then we have all the news you need to start the week on Monday. Thanks so much for listening and have a great weekend.